Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Riel. I am one of the speakers invited by Jay Baranda for his project in school. So I will be discussing the effects of stress on employees and companies. Basically, it would show the title of call centers, but it is applicable to other companies as well. Now, I will be looking at my notes every now and then. Don't get distracted. I just need some lead and need to see the next topic so that we can discuss it quickly and clearly. Okay, so first off, the effects of stress on call center employees. But we can also apply this to any company that you're working for, let's say fast food chains, factories, office work. So this is applicable. So there are 10 effects. Of course, there's going to be hundreds based on research, but we're going to discuss just the basic 10 of them. Okay. So number one is poor health. Now, why do call center employees have poor health? One, it's the graveyard shift. As we all know, they all work U.S. time, so they have to be there nighttime so that they can serve U.S. clients who have a different time zone than us here in the Philippines. And as you may already know, graveyard shift is not that conducive for good health, especially if you've been doing that for a long time. Number two, decrease in performance. Now, stress can lead you to underperform. You may not notice it at first that you've already been stressed out, or you're already going through a lot of stress if you're not that observant. But you can notice that with the performance that you have, like the numbers that you're bringing to the table. And number three, decrease in job satisfaction. Now, maybe when you started at work, you're so excited when you're in training. You're telling yourself, I'm going to be promoted after 3 months. I'm going to be a team lead. I'm going to be a team support. I'm going to be a trainer. You know, but once stress comes in, all those excitement might go down the drain. You will feel less excited about the work. Uh, the term I used before when I started in HSBC was disenchanted. I feel like uh, I made a wrong choice of industry. That's I did not know it back then, but that is a classic stress symptom. Now, number four, decrease in job professionalism. So, what is professionalism? You showing up on time, you logging in on time, you go on break on the scheduled hour, you take your lunch exactly an hour, you go home after you finished everything, not because it's the end of your shift, but the task you have for the day is done. That's professionalism. But once stress comes in, that professionalism can drop. You no longer care if you're late. You take your break whenever you want. I know a lot of people. One of them is my friend. Um, you go over lunch, over break, and then sometimes you would even make excuses so that you can go home early. It's very prevalent in the call center industry. So there's so many great actors and actresses in the call center. Now, after that, we have number five, increase in conflict at work. Now, when you become stressed, you start to nitpick everything that your teammate is doing or saying, everything that the management is asking of you, every coaching that your team lead gives you, you will start to nitpick. Now, you may not know it's stress right then and there, but that's a classic symptom of stress. You nitpick on everything, and after nitpicking, you start to be combative with the ideas that they have. You start to see things that you don't like, therefore creating more conflict at work. Number number six, burnout. And if you notice, most of these things that I've mentioned are related or somewhat similar. but they're different in a couple of aspects. Now, number six is burnout. Now, everyone feels this. Students feel this. You know, right after the exams, prelim, midterm, finals, been there. Burnout is how do we put it? If you're dragging yourself or dragging your feet to work, that could be a sign of burnout. If you're dragging yourself out of bed to get to the shower so that you can prepare for work, could be a sign of burnout. Like you just don't care anymore. You're lying in bed and you're thinking, why am I doing this? I mean, aside from the salary, why am I really doing this? So that could be a sign of burnout because of stress. Number seven, emotional exhaustion. Now, each of us would have an emotional resource or emotional energy that we use to cope with whatever we have to deal with at work. But if you run out of that emotional energy or emotional resource to cope with the stress and the daily hustle that you experience at work, then you'll have emotional exhaustion. Like you just don't care anymore. Like everything, it could be related to increased conflict at work because you no longer have capability to cope with the stress at work. You lash out. You start to complain about everything: the food in the pantry, the schedules of the break. Why is there not enough coaching in 1 week per person? So that could be related to nitpicking about everything. Now, after exhaustion is cynicism. Now, some people would say cynicism is being a pessimist. Some people would say cynicism is being a realist or being a practical person. So it depends, to each his own. But cynicism is like for an employee, you don't care if you get a good result. You just do the work. If it's bad, you don't care. If it's good, you don't care. Or you always expect something bad to happen, which will in turn affect how you perform. So that's the cynicism. Like, what's the use of exerting effort in doing this when I'm not really gonna get a bonus anyways? So that's cynicism right there. Then inefficacy. So inefficacy from the word efficient. So that's the complete opposite. You're not efficient at all. Like your production at work is not good. Let's say in a fast food restaurant, you're supposed to assemble the order in like 5 minutes. You assemble it in 10. So that's not efficient. That's inefficacy. In a call center, you're supposed to finish the call by 7 minutes. You finish it in 20. That's inefficacy. Part or one of the effects of stress in the working environment. And number 10, I think this is part of the final straw for stress, is absenteeism. You no longer care if you go to work or not. You go no call, no show. You don't even inform your team lead, your manager, or your teammates. So that's absenteeism. And of course, if you're not there, someone else would have to cover for the calls that you're taking. It's a domino effect. Everyone will be affected, including the company itself. Now, of course, after these 10 effects of stress on employees or call center agents, we have the effects of stress on the company itself. If the employee is stressed, what happens to the company? So there's 5. First one is lower customer satisfaction. Whether in a fast food, you're in the call center, you're in the bank industry, insurance, car, retail, sales, or whatever. If the employee is stressed and is showing all those 10 symptoms, the customer will feel it. Of course, the employee will not be performing and there will be no satisfaction for the customer. Why? Because the employee won't even exert an effort to be the best performer in front of the customer. So yeah, low satisfaction. Second is high agent turnover rate. What is a turnover rate? It also applies to other companies, meaning people who resigns, employees who resigns, compared to those who are still there. Now, there's so many call center in the Philippines that has high resignation rate. We don't have to discuss why. If you've worked in the BPO, you probably know why they resign a lot. Aside from the 13th month, the goals are unbelievably high. There's a lot of things. Uh, Part of stress as well. The goals, you don't like your team lead, you don't like your teammates, you don't like the environment, stress. All related to stress. Like 40% of employees resign from call centers, and because of that, we now can go to number three, which is the increased cost associated with turnover, or the cost associated with resignation. For example, you're supposed to have 100 employees, but 50 of them resign. What's going to happen? The remaining 50 will have to cover for the work of those 50 people who resign. So the production will be affected, and you won't have quality products, meaning you won't be able to sell as much, unlike when you still have 100 employees, right? So that's one of the costs. Now, in the call center setup, what's going to happen is, if 50 resigned, that means you have to hire at least 50 or 70. Now, if you're taking calls in the call center, the company is earning from you. But if you're in training for, let's say, 2 to 3 months, the company is paying you but not earning from you. So that's a cost associated with the turnover or resignation. They have to pay 50 to 70 people to replace those 50 guys who resigned, and they will only earn from these people, these new guys, after 3 months. So that's one of the costs of turnover within any company, not just the call center industry. Decreased workplace efficiency is number four. So if the employees are stressed, they won't be doing work as they should be doing it, or as expected. They would put the customer on hold, go to the bathroom for like 5 minutes, or they would log out when it's not yet their break. You'd see them, let's say, in office setup, you'd see them sleeping in the bathroom, going to the copy room just to sleep or chit chat with someone else. So they're not performing their dedicated or designated duties while within the shift, let's say a 9-hour shift. So decreased efficiency. They could be doing any other thing except working, except the task that was assigned. Now, number five. Now, this one mainly applies to the United States or other countries, except the Philippines. It is increased mental health care associated cost, because with some companies overseas, the company would cover 4 mental health sessions. If you have an issue and you need to talk to a professional, a psychiatrist, psychologist, counselor, it will be covered. Unlike in the Philippines, it's not. They may be showing concerns in paper, but in application, we don't see it. I mean, in my 15 years in the call center industry, I have not seen any of that happen at all. Okay? So those are the effects of stress on employees and the effect of stress on call center companies. Then the next topic is stress and mental health. We'll be discussing just the basic ideas about stress and some quick fixes. Of course, these fixes is not for the severe case. Okay, so we really cannot handle a severe case in this discussion, because I have no background in handling, let's say, borderline personality disorder or bipolar, right? So here we go. So 5 things you have to know about stress. So stress affects everyone. Okay. Now you may think that I'm alone, I'm the only one feeling this, and no one can understand me. Not really, no. Everyone experiences stress from time to time, and there are different types of stress which carry physical and mental risks. So everyone feels that. It's just that we deal differently depending on the person. Now, the stressor or the cause of the stress can be a short-term, one-time thing, or it can be a long-term occurrence. Let's say you've been working in the industry for like 8 years, and that's the cause of your stress. So that's a long-term stressor. And some can cope with stress very easily, and some does not. We're not all the same. So that's what you have to understand. It affects everyone. Now, examples of stress, we have stress from school, stress from home, relationships, deadlines, everything. Stress from disaster, stress from bad experiences, from traumatic experiences, from tragic experiences. You've been hurt, you went through a near-death experience. All of that can give you stress. Now, next, not all stress is bad. So we can discuss two things about this. There's um, two ideas about this. One, the stress that you feel when you're in danger, the fight or flight instinct, that's a form of stress that causes your body to make a change. For example, someone pees when they're scared. That's your body's reflex to disperse liquid so that you will be lighter, so that you can react faster. That's what happens. That's why you pee sometimes when you're too scared. The next stress is before the exam, or if you have to review something. Why? It's a good type of stress because it makes you focus, makes you more alert, and more like a sponge that you have to learn everything. So those are the two types of stress that's not really that bad. Now there are ways to manage stress, of course. So again, I'm not going to discuss sessions because I don't know anything about that, or Rorschach, or conditioning, or anything. Okay, so these are just the general ideas. So one, be observant. When we say be observant, you have to know yourself, and you have to know what's triggering you. Like if you see this person and your feeling starts to change, so that's a clue. You have to take a mental note that, hey, when I see this person, everything goes haywire. So you either avoid that person, or when you're around him, just try to think happy thoughts so that you can avoid, causing physical harm. I do that a lot because there's so many people I want to hurt. Just kidding. Okay. Now, another thing that you can do, talk to your healthcare provider, but we don't have that in the Philippines a lot. There's few institutions who would offer the employees that. You have to pay for it, like LaSalle, I think UST has one. We have National Center for Mental Health in Mandaluyong and in Cavite. So you can try them. It's cheaper compared to private institutions. I've been there, believe me. It's quite cheap. And it's not as detailed as the private sessions, but it would help. Okay. Now, after that, try a relaxing activity. Now, when we say relaxing, it doesn't mean lying down on the floor with incense and all of that. No, find something that relaxes you. For me, baking relaxes me, boxing relaxes me, walking relaxes me, dribbling drill relaxes me. So that's what I do to relax. If I feel my panic attack, if I feel like I'm short of breath, that's what I do. For others, they read books, they talk to their friends, they travel, they eat. By the way, lay low on eating, okay? Because that's also it can agitate your stress if you gain weight, okay? So eat high fiber meals, drink a lot of pineapple juice or something. Then the next thing that you can do to fight stress, stay connected. You have your friends if you cannot talk to your family. Like with me, when I was going through depression and suicidal tendencies, I have my friends. So even if I'm feeling that pain the whole time I'm with my friends, it's better than feeling the pain and you're by yourself. Right? So be with your friends, stay connected, feel the pain. There's nothing you can do but feel it, right? But in time it will disappear. Or if it doesn't disappear, in time you'll be stronger in dealing with it. Okay? After staying connected, we have considered clinical trial. So again, you can visit mental health institution like National Center of Mental Health in Mandaluyong and Trece Martires, or you can go to PGH. You can visit LaSalle, UMC. They have we have specialists there, psychiatrists, psychologists that can help you. But again, it can be costly, the travel and the session itself. So if you want something cheaper, you can visit NCMH Mandaluyong or Trece Martires, or there's a lot of organizations offering free cancellation online. I think USD is offering one, so you just have to contact them and call them ahead of time. And number 5 about stress. If you're having suicidal thoughts, I'm not gonna say it's normal, but that's a severe case. Try to think of something that you have, or try to think of the effects, the practical effects, not the emotional effects of your suicide. Try to think of the practical effects that it will have in people. I mean it helped for me. Like if I kill myself now, yes, I will disappear. There will be no stress about Riel anymore, but I'm just gonna add agitation to my family who's already struggling, right? So I decided not to kill myself. And again, you can talk to people. You have to look for authority figures sometimes, like your counselor in school. Try to talk to religious leaders of your church. Why? Because they have counseling backgrounds, so they may be able to give you some insight about what's happening, because they're older than you. They probably have gone through some experiences that's traumatic as well. So it's very important. The problem is, in the Philippines, there's a stigma about mental health. It's like a bad branding about mental health. We have a machismo culture in the Philippines. Like, if you're a guy, you're not supposed to cry. Just keep it inside you, and then it will go away in time, which is wrong. Okay, believe me, I've cried so many times. You can ask Jay. He saw me crying. And your friends will be there, your family will be there more than you know. So if you feel that you want to hurt yourself, don't. Just look at your family and think of what's going to happen. Okay? Think about the reality, the practical application of what you're going to do, or the practical effects of what you're going to do if you do that, if you proceed with hurting yourself. Okay? And one last advice, just remember, if you feel stress, keep moving, stay connected, and seek professional advice. Again, thank you for your time, and be stress-free. Have a good day.